Okay, we have a lot of news today, a lot of big announcements. It's an important week as we gear up for school. Labor Day is coming. So I want to thank you all for tuning in on this Monday. And I also want to remind you that this week we're going to have a press conference every single day at 1 o'clock. Today it'll be the usual longer press conference. I have a lot to cover. Every other day it's going to be shorter. We're going to just primarily focus on schools. But every day this week, 1 o'clock, press conference related to coronavirus in the state of Rhode Island. I will say today is primarily good news. We spent a lot of time in the past couple of days cranking through the data, reviewing all the information we have from our case investigations, doing a refresh on the data, and in general, it's a good news story. We're not out of the woods. Coronavirus is with us. Sadly, we still lose people every day. But I come before you today with a sense of confidence that the steps we've taken and the systems we've put in place to protect the people of Rhode Island, by and large, are working, and we are continuing to operate safely, learning to live with the coronavirus. To that point, we'll begin, as we always do, as we've done every day, and let's look at the data. And I'd ask you please to put the data up on the screen. Yesterday, we had 46 new cases. It's very good, low number, and very sadly, yet another 2 deaths. I want to highlight a few things. What's particularly noteworthy is that our percent positive rate continues to be among the lowest that we've seen. Now it's at about 1.2%. 1.2%. The reason that I'm focusing on that is because we are now starting to test more than ever. We had a day last week where we tested over 9,500 people. 9,500 people. So, of course, as you test more, you're going to find more cases. So I really want us to start focusing on the test positive rate, and 1.2% is an excellent place to be. Over this past week, we've done more testing than ever. We had our biggest testing week with more than 45,000 tests completed in the past 7 days. And in that 7 days, we saw percent positives some days below 1%. So for me, managing this, trying to keep everybody safe, knowing that nothing's perfect and everything's difficult right now, this should give you confidence that here in Rhode Island, we're doing about as well as you can be doing, as well as any state in America. Testing 45,000 people in a week, that's among the highest testing rates in America, with a test positive of about 1%, is a stable place to be. And I hope gives you some confidence and some relief. I know there's still people who are so anxious. To put the testing in perspective, because if just throwing numbers at you isn't that helpful, per capita, on a per person basis, we're running twice as many tests as Massachusetts. We're testing twice as much as Massachusetts and 50% more than Connecticut. So that's where we want to be. Every expert that you talk to, around the world, in any country, any public health expert will tell you the key to protecting folks is more testing and strategic testing. Testing in urban areas, testing on college campuses, testing with folks work and live in densely populated areas, and that's what we are doing. Now, I should also say that the testing numbers are going to continue to increase. You know, we're doing, say, 5,000 a day. That's going to continue to go up. The kids are going to come back to school. The number will go up. College students are coming back. As we test more and more, the numbers will go up. So don't be alarmed if on a day that we test 9,000 people, we find 90 or 100 cases. as long as the test positive percentage remains as low as it is now, between 1% and 2%, that is a very good and stable place to be. To this point, you know, people wondering how are we doing? I know so many people still look at pictures of Florida, Arizona, Georgia, and Texas. Focus on Rhode Island, where we have managed to find a good, stable spot between keeping a lid on the virus and living our lives, going back to work, going to the beach, going back to college. That's what I'm trying to manage, a place where we keep a lid on the virus, but also have an economy. You know, going out to eat, please, you know, continue to support the economy if you can. Go back to work if you have a job. To that point, in a new study that's been put out by Moody's and CNN that compares individual states' success at returning to our pre-COVID economy, I'm proud to say that Rhode Island, last week, we were 6th best in the country, and they've come out with a revised study, and Rhode Island is now number 3 in America. So as we compare ourselves to other states, we are getting folks back to work, but also low test positive rate. That is a testament to the people of Rhode Island. That is because you guys, you're tuning in at 1 o'clock, you're keeping your social gatherings to 15, you're wearing masks, following the guidelines, keeping your contact tracing notebooks. It is working. And until we have a vaccine, this is the way we're going to have to live. And I want to continue to get people back to work, but also keep that test positive rate low where it is now. We don't want an overwhelmed hospital system, which is happening in many states, but not here. And we don't want to start going back up the curve. We've been there, it's scary, and we don't ever want to go back. So as we begin the week together, and I know we have a lot to cover today, I hope you will feel, as I do, that we're in a stable place, have some confidence, and don't breathe a sigh of relief knowing that we're in a good place, but continue to be vigilant, because it is that vigilance that is allowing us to be in this great place. Okay, I want to start quickly with an update on what we saw this weekend. In our businesses and restaurants throughout the weekend. Last week, we conducted more than 1,200 inspections. That's another record high. Employee and customer mask compliance was fantastic, around 96%. We saw about 14% of bars where customers weren't properly separated from bartenders. That's an improvement from the last few weeks. So thank you. We still want to do better, but it's an improvement. And 15% of bars where we had crowding. That's a bit of an increase from the past few weeks, so let's all be careful at a bar, keep our distance, no crowding. I want to be very clear about this. Crowding, particularly indoors, is the best way to spread this disease. I've said this so many times, I'm going to say it again. If you find yourself in an indoor space, crowded by a lot of folks that you don't know, that's not where you want to be. You want to get out of that. Go outside, remove yourself. But if you're in line at the grocery store, in line at a retail shop, wherever, try to keep your distance and don't allow yourself to be inside in a crowd. The other thing that we do have to try better on is screening. We saw 17% of businesses still not screening everyone who enters for symptoms. That is a problem. We know that folks who have symptoms are much more likely to spread the disease. It doesn't have to be a temperature check. A temperature check is great. It could be a simple checklist, stopping everybody, every employee, every customer, everyone who comes in, making sure no one who has symptoms comes into your business. So for the 80% of you who are doing that, thank you. For the nearly 20% of you who aren't, I'd ask you to try Try a little harder. Symptom checking and tracking is so simple, and it's one of the most powerful things we can do to keep the virus down. Okay, this weekend is Labor Day. It's an important time. It's a special time in New England, kind of the unofficial end of summer. I want everybody to have a good time on Labor Day. But if you take nothing away from this press conference, please be careful not to crowd in big social gatherings on Labor Day. I'd like you to put a slide up, please. We know for a fact that holidays cause people to gather at a party, which 3-4 weeks from then leads to increased cases. In Texas, for instance, they saw a big spike about a month after Memorial Day. Big Memorial Day celebrations led to a big spike. Similar thing happened here around the 4th of July. And that's what the data shows. The slide in front of you paints a clear picture about the change in trajectory that we saw following the 4th of July. In late June, we had days with new cases in the 20s and the 30s. But then in mid-July, we started to see increases again. Instead of continuing to have new daily case numbers in the 20s and 30s, we got to the 70s, 80s, 90s, a few days over 100. Before eventually coming down again these past few weeks. Why did this happen? There's a lot of reasons this happened. But we know clearly, and the data's right in front of you, there's a correlation between 4th of July and increased numbers. We saw a spike in cases starting in the middle of July, which we traced back to 4th of July parties. People had parties, barbecues, pool parties, backyard events. And when you're with your family, when you're with your friends, maybe when there's drinking, when it's a party, we're just more relaxed. We might not wear a mask. We might gather. We might sit down next to somebody we don't know for a longer period of time. So also on that slide, you see a second inflection point a few weeks ago when new hospitalizations started to tick down again. That timing also has a clear correlation. The tick down was clearly correlated with the lowering of our social gathering limit from 25 to 15 and the imposition of bars having to close at 11 o'clock. So it's clear, it's very simple. We know this. It's not just Rhode Island. It's all over the country. It's all over the world. When we gather together in bigger crowds, cases go up, hospitalizations go up, and deaths go up. So I'm asking you now, it's Monday, make your plans for next Labor Day, and just follow the rules. Just follow the rules. If you are having a social gathering, 15 is the limit. Not 20, not 25, it's 15. And we're enforcing it. And there's a steep fine for each person at a party over the 15 limit. It's also the case that, and I think the doctor may talk about this, as we've extensively gone through all of our case investigations, you talk to people, where were you? It's just crystal clear that when people get together, particularly indoors, in a restaurant, in a house, a lot of house parties, in a church, that's when you see cases increase. So I'm asking you, follow the rules this weekend, be responsible, stay outside, wear your masks, keep 6 feet away from folks, no big parties of any kind, pool party, barbecue, porch party, backyard, on a boat. Keep your distance, keep your limit, keep your social gatherings to 15, and keep your network small, the same 15 people. This is a very critical time right now. We want to get the kids back to school. I know a lot of businesses are planning around, mid-September, early October to let folks go back to work. A lot of college students coming back. We have to really now keep the stability. Labor Day is a big deal. It's a 3-day weekend. It's a time to party. Enjoy yourselves. Go out for dinner. Eat outside. Please follow the rules. Speaking of outside, we know that one of the best ways we can celebrate safely over Labor Day, or frankly any time, is to go outside. Go outside. We know it is so clear from all the data, transmission is much lower outdoors. So we've been working hard to find innovative and creative ways to resume our everyday activities, but to do it outdoors so it reduces the spread of the disease. Last week, I announced that we're launching a new initiative called the Take It Outside campaign to encourage Rhode Islanders to do things outside wherever possible. Have a meeting outside, do exercise outside, take a class outside, eat outside. And so today, I'm really excited to announce that we are leaning into that initiative to encourage everybody to take it outside, and we're working with people to make it easier to do that. So starting today, you can go on the website, takeitoutsideri.com, and you can reserve space for free at some of our state properties if you'd like to use these properties. We're making space at Fort Adams State Park, Fort Wetherell State Park in Jamestown, Lincoln Woods, some areas in Providence. You can have a meeting there. Many of these places are going to have free Wi-Fi. We're working on making that possible. If you own a gym, you can have an exercise class outside. You can teach class outside. We want to make land available for you and encourage everybody, at least now for the next couple of months while the weather's decent, get creative and get outside. So again, takeitoutsideri.com, reserve a space. Some places will have Wi-Fi, and we'd encourage you to take advantage of some of our most beautiful state parks and also keep yourselves healthy. I will say a big thank you to mayors and town managers. Since we launched the Take It Outside initiative last week, municipalities all over the state have called us to say, we want to get involved. And they're getting very creative. They're going to close sidewalks, close streets, make it easier to use parking lots for restaurants and retail shops and gyms and bars to put their business outside. So far, we've partnered with Providence, East Greenwich, West Greenwich, Jamestown, Central Falls, Bristol, and Warren to all take their businesses outdoors. And as I said, they'll be expanding outdoor dining, outdoor retail, and even, in some cases, even holding municipal government council meetings outside, socially distanced. So thank you. And if you're a town that I haven't listed, I'd ask you to consider it. So many businesses are struggling. A lot of the smaller ones don't have a natural space to go outside. So if you could please work with them to give them a hand, to enable them to do their business outdoors. This could be a fun thing, and we can help one another. I know the Commerce Department is making some funds available to cities and towns to help you out with this, and I'd ask everybody to just go to the website, Take It Outside, RI, and see what might be possible. I want to also give a shout out to a few businesses. Citizens Bank and AAA Northeast, among others, have agreed to participate. Citizens Johnston and East Providence campuses are going to be using their outdoor spaces to hold meetings outside. And AAA is holding some of its pre-registration processes outside. So thank you guys for leading the way and setting a good example in the business community, and I hope others will follow. I also want to make a special announcement about our beaches and parks relative to this. After Labor Day, state beaches in the state of Rhode Island will remain open, and we'd encourage you to use them. They are free for parking, but there'll be no lifeguards. Additionally, this year, we're also going to be keeping restrooms open for 2 additional weeks. So continue to go to the beach. For the next 2 weeks after Labor Day, the bathrooms and the restrooms will be open. Same thing for state parks. Parking is free, no lifeguards, and just continue to practice the same social distancing. If you run into people you don't know, put your mask on. Keep your crowd small. Don't bunch up. If you go to the pavilion or use the restroom, please wear your mask. We're encouraging and asking the concession stands to stay open for the next couple of weeks. Feel free to use that, but when you go up there, put your mask on and just be responsible. If you show up and it's overcrowded, you might want to come back later. But again, we want you to be outside, so we're going to go ahead and keep the beaches and parks open. All of our updates will be posted on takeitoutsideri.com. We're just launching this, and we're going to, as new ideas come available, as new space becomes available, as the Wi-Fi hotspots become available, we'll post them all to Take It Outside RI. I want to thank the Department of Health, Commerce, and the Department of Environmental Management for enabling this. It's hard work. All of this is hard work. Thank you to the cities and towns. Thank you to the retailers and restaurants and bars and businesses who are rolling with this and being creative. This is really hard. It's easy to get tired. It's easy to focus on what we can't do and why it's hard to do things. The hard work is figuring out how we can do things and making it possible, being resilient, being creative, and working hard. And to all of you who are doing that and have been doing that for months, thank you. Hang in there. We're all in it together, and we are getting through it. And I hope you have some fun with the Take It Outside RI initiative.